All right, and we are live. We will stop to talk about volcanoes in England, and we will start with. I think this is session 20, might be 21. It'll say in the title
No,
of the Twitch, but
21, apparently.
21. All right. In merry old England, you guys are trying to figure out what exactly your friend Elias may have been chasing. We had some discussion in the Discord about kind of the goals to make sure that everybody kind of understood, because mystery games can get very convoluted and sandbox games can get very convoluted. I mean, Lord knows I've made zero progress on the main quest in Skyrim, because it's always like, oh, bunny, or Daedra dog that wants me to do something for his master. So I posted, there's a Google Doc that kind of outlines what leads you have for which locations, so that you'll have a much better idea from an OOC standpoint of what avenues are logically available to you given what the investigators know. I will change and update those as you gain more information. But right now, it is still, despite 21 sessions, it is still the early stage of this particular campaign. And I tend to view mysteries, especially Cthulhu mysteries, it's a lot like a funnel where it's got a very wide opening, and as you get more and more information, it will narrow down and narrow down and narrow down until you figure out what exactly is going on and what, if anything, you can do about it. I will trust that that makes sense.
sure.
Thank you.
But last time, you guys decided rather than waiting for Gavigan to go to his country estate at the end of the month, you would be a little bit more proactive and maybe strike at him while he wasn't expecting trouble here in London. Some associates of Salvatore's put a tail on him for a day or two, found out where he lived, and you guys decided to go, and Luther was going to go and take care of him. Things went awry. There was an explosion. Townhouse was blown up. People were like, bucket brigades were putting out fires. The folks on watch, which was Evelyn and Alvin and Salvatore, decided to kind of peel out. After Alvin checked and saw that there was a body inside in the flame-engulfed townhouse, but couldn't get close enough to identify it.
Some people decided. Some of us were just taken.
That's true. But as you made your way kind of around the crowds and out of sight, you did come across a very disheveled-looking, shell-shocked Luther, whose right arm seems to be completely foobarred. Like all of the underlying muscle and connective tissue and everything in his arm seems to have just been evaporated. It's kind of like the scene in Deadpool where Wade is growing back his arm. But he's wounded. He's definitely in shock. He has no memory of what exactly occurred beyond he remembers Gavigan doing something, his arm getting injured, and lighting a stick of dynamite, and that is the last conscious memory Luther has until you guys find him walking in a daze down the road. In the meantime, despite all of the discussion about the danger the books possessed, and safety measures and protocols, everybody was like, okay, Bill, we'll be back.
And we left Bill unsupervised.
And Bill was left unsupervised.
Why did we do that?
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
In your defense, Bill's never done anything like this before.
I was going to say, Bill's
mean-
never shown an interest in the books like some of us have.
I thought he was going to say
Yeah.
Bill's never read before, but okay.
Well, he's company clerk. He had to read something.
Yeah, and he's read a couple of the books, just kind of idly, but he hasn't done any in-depth, serious research. So we'll get to that in a moment. Additionally, during this time, there were some scrolls and a book in languages that nobody spoke. Greek, Latin being the predominant ones. A couple of scrolls in Arabic. So Dr. Carter has taken those to his colleagues at Oxford to get some translation work done. So he has found some information. Regarding that, not a ton of information because he wasn't directly reading the books themselves. He was getting like translated Cliff's Notes versions. And it will take them some time to give him a more detailed and accurate translation. So they just kind of gave him like the high level overview of what's in them and indications of some prayers and stuff that might be of use maybe.
Those poor TAs.
Yeah, the poor TAs had one of them had a nervous breakdown, and they're just like, the folks at Oxford are kind of like, I don't know, Dr. Carter, you may want to keep it on the down low a little bit here, sort of thing. But Bill,
Are we going to open with Bill? Okay, sorry.
We're
That's
gonna-
exactly what I was going to say.
yep, we're gonna open with Bill, who thankfully only speaks English. So the books that you have available to you, Bill, that are in English, you've read a couple of them. You've done a preliminary reading of some of them. You've kind of looked at Against the Stones. You've read a little bit of Life as a God, which detailed a secret chamber in a thing called the Bent Pyramid, which is a very old pyramid outside Cairo. It predates the Great Pyramid of Giza by like 100, 200 years. The Narcotic Manuscripts. And the one book in English that you haven't read is the Book of Dizon.
Well, I guess that's one's next. Let's see what else we can add to my backstory.
And don't worry, once you get taken over by an external entity, you'll have a lot more languages at your disposal.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping. Let's get some of these stats up.
It's not really the languages he speaks that's the problem, it's the languages he can read that's the problem.
All right. So the Book of Dizon is written by an unknown author, unknown age. It is bound in goat skin. It does have a distinctly sulfurous smell.
Sulfur? Like eggs?
Yep.
Blech. All right.
It has a dense book, and it's talking about things like even though like English is your native language, the wording of it seems to indicate that there was basically like the beginning of consciousness started on the planet Venus and ended up on Earth. Deals a lot with like a prehistoric civilization. Talks about Atlantis. It is way above your head, and you're going to need much more time to kind of read it.
All right, let's go back to the God one then.
Yeah, that is unless you want to spend 2 luck to pass the language test.
Let me check my luck stat.
You're currently at 20.
Yeah, I'll spend the 2.
All right.
Look at that, 3 Cthulhu points.
Oof. Loss of 4 sanity points.
I had plenty.
And a roll on this fun little table. Oh, okay. All right. So, you're reading this book, Bill, and it's talking about like prehistoric, like literally prehistoric civilizations, highly advanced. Talking about like serpent people, maybe. What's it? Let me find the book. This is such a big adventure module. Oh, there we go. Portions of it seem to be translations. Some of it is actually in cipher. There are annotations in Greek. This book has been around for a little bit. It seems to be a book that details conversations between an angelic being named Dizon and a young man. It's very similar. What's Bill's occult skill?
Crap, I think it's like 5.
It is 5. You can make an occult roll.
I will. Not spend enough luck to make that one.
It would use like all of your luck to make it, but
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
so yeah, it seems to be from what you can tell, a history of a race, a people, entities. You're not entirely sure. The words are used interchangeable. Sometimes referred to as dryads, sometimes referred to as wind gods. It's all very kind of jumbled, and you have a very hard time making any logical sense out of it. And then we'll switch over to, let's say we'll switch over to the party, and then Dr. Carter will join you guys in the morning. So those of you with Luther.
Pull over the car.
I mean, he stepped in front of the car, right? We pulled it over, right?
Yep.
Evelyn is going
Luther?
to try to get out of the car. Did you guys stuff her? You put her in the back seat with Salvatore to keep her still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she's going to be struggling to try to get away from him. Not that her struggling is going to matter at all. Salvatore's only 3 times her size.
I think
But she's going to try to struggle to get out of the back seat and out of the car.
she's not going to have trouble in the front seat. I don't know if Sal gives her trouble in the back, but Alvin is in shock right now. He's like, I saw you die.
You know what? I'm going to let her go because I'm just as eager to get out of the car and check on it.
Okay, perfect.
Alvin does, they say that. He says, Luther, I saw you die.
I imagine Luther's kind of still stumbling forward, right arm limp, his eyes like big as saucers. His lips would be moving, but he's not really saying anything. It looks like he's speaking, but there's no words coming out. And just like going in a straight line, not really conscious at the moment.
Well, I imagine everyone's rushing, and I'm rushing to get to him and intercept him and guide him to our car, or at least do a quick psychological evaluation to figure out what's the best way to get him towards the car and such.
All right, you can give me a psychology roll or a medicine roll. Oh, very nice.
Nice.
So yeah, he's very obviously in shock. Like more like mental shock as opposed to physical shock. He doesn't have that paleness or anything. But he's fairly pliable. Like you can kind of lead him and coax him, and he'll kind of stumble along of his own accord.
I shall do so.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't be a problem.
Luther, what's the last thing you remember? As I say as I try to get him into the vehicle.
Evelyn will try to guide him into the back.
Yeah, so he's in total. He's just not here at the moment. His lips are moving, like I say. He looks like he's speaking, but he's not making any sound. He's basically catatonic at the moment.
Let's go.
So back seat, Evelyn on one side of him, Salvatore on the other.
Yep.
Is there 3 seats in the back at this time, or is it 2 and 2?
Well, it's like a rumble seat sort of thing, so it's like a bench seat.
A bench.
Fantastic. Everyone fits. Alvin is driving home.
Evelyn's so tiny, it wouldn't make any difference.
It's funny when we're driving. Alvin doesn't exactly lose control, but he does swerve a few times. Not because he's driving on the wrong side of the road, mostly because he keeps looking backwards and is obviously in disbelief that Luther's alive.
It's understandable.
So when you guys arrive back at the safe house, the front door is open. And there's no sign of Bill.
Oh, shit.
Alvin looks. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Alvin looks at Salvatore, and then Alvin jumps out of the car with his gun drawn.
I look at Evelyn and I will trust Evelyn to take care of Bill, and I get out of the car too.
Take care of Bill.
Luther.
Luther.
Sorry, yeah, Luther. Sorry.
Yeah, she just kind of is looking around, trying to figure out why Bill opened the door for them and then didn't actually wait at the door to see if they needed help. She hasn't clued in to the fact that Bill is not in the house.
I'm looking for signs of violence or a struggle or anything like.
There is no sign of a struggle. And as you're looking around, though, you do notice like the Book of Daizan, one of the books that you guys have collected, is like laying open on like the reading table, the kitchen table you guys have been using for like reading.
Alvin says, "Holy hell."
For all you guys know, I could be in prehistoric times.
That's exactly what he's going to think. He's going to say, he's going to look around, or that's what Alvin is doing. He's looking around. I guess he flips through the book really quickly, not reading it, but he's looking for Bill. Did the book eat Bill?
For pictures.
There's no sign of Bill, and actually, Alvin, why don't you give me? You and Salvatore both can give me spot hidden rolls.
Nice roll.
Better roll.
Wow.
Both of you. There's no sign of a struggle. Quick flipping through the book, there's not a lot of illustrations. None of the illustrations show Bill. But both of you pick up on the fact that, like the way that the chair is, kind of pushed away from the table, it looks like he got up quickly. Like the chair is, kind of pushed back a little bit askew. The way it would be of like if somebody pushed themselves back from the table very quickly, and just kind of taking a little look around. You do see some footprints, like just outside the door. Now that you're like actually looking to see what may have happened to Bill, there are footprints that lead away from the house.
So it does not look like he was dragged away by an invisible jellyfish, because that was my second go-to.
Nope. But with the hard and the extreme success, judging by the size of the gate, he was running full out.
Away or towards something? Is it possible to even tell?
Away from the house.
And only one set of footprint.
Just the one set of footprints.
Sal, one of us has to sit here and make sure Luther's okay.
Sorry?
Sal, one of us needs to stay here and make sure that Luther and Evelyn are okay.
I'll do that if you want to go and find him.
Okay, I'll go find him.
Are you guys having this conversation on the doorstep?
We're walking out as we're doing that, I'm going to assume.
Yep, but I will come to the car. So I get in the car with Evelyn. Sorry?
Is Bill not inside?
No, Bill looks like he read a book, and if I were to guess from what we saw, he didn't like what he read and he ran away in a panic.
Go and look for him, we'll be fine.
I'm sorry?
Go and look for him, we'll be fine.
Okay, well, Alvin was going to do that, but okay, I will go. I will help Alvin. No, I'll help Alvin, that's fine. So, Chris, I will also start looking. I'll go in I'll follow the footprints for now.
Okay. And why don't both of you give me tracking rolls?
I actually have tracking.
All right, Salvatore, you can follow the tracks for a bit until they start to get a little bit kind of too faint, because it's not like he bothered to put his boots on or anything. He's basically running around in his sock feet. And you're like, oh shit. But Alvin, you're a skilled tracker. You can follow his tracks. And it doesn't look like he slows down or breaks stride or anything. He's just running full out.
So he doesn't know where he's going. He's just running away.
Yep. Probably, I think you guys probably, let's say probably half an hour or so. Just because you got a hard success in the tracking. Probably after about a half hour or so, you do find Bill. He seems to be pacing nervously at like the bus stop, like waiting for a bus. Bill,
Yo.
there is no doubt in your mind that whatever it is that might be here in England or might be behind things knows that you're looking into it. It knows where you are. It can find you anywhere. It is coming to kill you. You want to leave. Get as far away from England as possible.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, okay. So Bill's going to hop a bus or a taxi or whatever he can find as soon as it gets here. And go buy a boat ticket.
That's pretty much where Salvatore and Alvin find you as you're waiting for the bus, kind of pacing nervously, watching the shadows. You know that the bus is coming, and you can get the bus, and then you can get to down to the ship or to the train station. You can get the train, then you can get on a boat, and then you can get away from England. And those are the kind of like thoughts that are going through your head in an almost obsessive fashion.
Okay.
Because it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, isn't it?
It's about 4:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Bill, what are you doing here?
Waiting for the bus. Needed some scratch offs. Had to go.
Why are you waiting for the bus at 4 a.m.?
Because it didn't come at 2, 2:30, 3, or 3:30.
Yes, but why do you want to take the bus?
I'm getting out of town. Perfectly happy to buy a few extra tickets, but I'm getting out of town.
I don't have a justification. Sal, help me out here. Why? What?
Sorry, Bill. Why are you here?
I'm had enough. Nope, they're coming to kill us, and I'm not a warrior. I'm not a hero. I am a coward and a clerk, and I am not cut out for this. I'm not going up against the cult. I'll catch y'all later. Happy we got his tickets to Kenya, and we can part ways there.
You're going to Kenya?
I'll go wherever we want, as long as it's not London. Kenya seems like a good place. You guys seem to be wanting to go there.
Okay, so let's go back home and get everyone packed to
I don't think
go
that's a
to
good idea.
Kenya.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Bill, we need our things if we're going to leave, and we are going to go to that manor, and that's not in London. So, but we need to prepare for it and pack.
All right,
So,
you guys go pack my stuff. I'll be waiting right here.
Chris, does he look okay?
Give me a psychology roll.
Yay, my 12. Nope.
He looks fine.
I'll do a little.
Well, I mean, woohoo!
Wow, Sal, you're kicking butt today.
I love the fact that the boxer is like the occult, like the Cthulhu mythos expert and the psychologist. All right. So Alvin, I mean, obviously, he's not okay. I mean, he's here at it's like early February in England. He doesn't have a coat. He doesn't have boots. He's like in a sock feet. Woefully unprepared for anything that might happen. Salvatore, you can tell that Bill is scared beyond all rational explanation of being afraid. You're not going to be able to rationalize with Bill in his current state.
Okay. Bill, you're. I just realized, you don't have shoes on. How far do you think you can make it without those?
I'm rich. I can buy new shoes.
Yeah, when? Like, it's
Uh,
winter.
hopefully this bus gets here soon, and at the bus station. Maybe I can buy one off a traveler. They carry suitcases, right? Might have shoes in a suitcase.
Yes,
Might have
absolutely.
spares.
Travelers have suitcases. Thus, if you are going to travel, you need a suitcase.
You don't need to be condescending. I'm a very intelligent man. But it's time to go. You wouldn't have a horse with you, would you?
No, but we do have
Buy
a
a horse.
car back home. If you come with us home, you can come get the car.
Oh, that's right. I can drive. You guys had the car. I should have taken the car. Damn it. Yeah, that's a great
So,
idea. Let's go
yeah,
get the car.
let's go home and get the car.
Let's go get the car.
All right, is he walking with us? Are we slowly heading home?
If Chris lets me, yeah, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. Go get the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried I was going to have to try to knock him out on a street.
That's what I was so afraid of.
I was kind of leading you up to it.
I was about to ask how residential this area is and if there's like any chance somebody might actually be peeking out a window right now.
I did not want to know what kind of effort goes in knocking someone unconscious in this game.
Neither did I, but I was about to ask.
It's technically you make a combat maneuver, so you make a brawling roll, and then if you're successful, the other person makes a Constitution roll, and if they fail that, they are knocked unconscious. It's very simple.
That makes it sound like Sal can make anyone unconscious on command.
Well, he would have to punch them first, and they'd have to fail a con roll. But yes, getting punched by Sal is a bad day.
Getting punched by cells should knock you out.
But yes, you guys can gradually unveil as the cold starts to seep into your body. That fear is still there, but you understand that, you know, if you're going to leave, you need to take proper steps. You need to, you know, essentially your bout of madness will pass. So you're no longer forced to flee. But because your sanity was badly dinged before you read the book, you are indefinitely insane, but it's regressed to an underlying insanity. So that fear is there. You have complete control of your character, but that fear is there. And should, for the duration of this chapter, or until you get psychological help, if you lose even a single point of sanity, you will snap and suffer another bout of madness.
That works, and I don't mind making new characters.
So yeah, your grasp on sanity is hanging by a thread. But by the time you guys get Bill back, he seems to have calmed down. He seems to be back to himself. He still really wants to leave, but is more rational about it at this point. You guys get back. Evelyn and Luther, are you guys just sitting in the car, or are you going into the house? Or
Evelyn is going to try to gently guide Luther into the house.
yeah, he's guidable. And Tony, Luther is starting to come. He's aware of his surroundings. He's aware of what's going on. He's just got that hole in his memory and some trauma from what happened. But again, much like Bill, you have control of your character at this point.
Yeah, I'm happy with being in shock for a bit since he lost an arm and shouldn't be alive.
And has no memory as to why he might be alive.
Yeah, he's just got to shut down for a bit. Just for a bit.
Okay, perfect.
I think that's fair.
All right.
Nap time.
Nap time.
All right. But Evelyn, you can. He's very easy to kind of move along, shuffling along.
We're just going to go into the house, Luther. All right? Everything's going to be fine. We just need to get into the house. We're going to sit down, maybe have a cup of tea. We're just going to go inside.
Yeah, he'll follow whatever he's told to do at the moment. And like I say, he keeps mouthing words. He's not saying anything, but he keeps mouthing things.
Evelyn's trying to pay attention. Kind of hard to do with him looking like he's just been blown to hell and back. She's very concerned about whatever happened to his arm. So yeah, she'll be trying to make out what it is that he's saying.
Give me a listen roll.
No.
No, you can't make anything out. But just for ease of play, we'll assume that like once you get Luther into the house and kind of settled, and the adrenaline starts to wear off to some extent, and the fact that by this time it's like 4:30 in the morning, and it's been a day. Salvatore and Bill and Alvin make it back. And we'll also say that Professor Carter has basically wrapped up his studies at Oxford and made it back as well, so we can have the whole party together. Even though it's like super, super early in the morning and people are probably going to want to go to bed, we'll at least get the group back together.
Sounds good.
The band's back together.
Does Luther
Let-
still have his coat?
He does.
Oh,
So there's a knock at the door.
What now?
Luther doesn't even react to it.
someone answer it. Someone put the water on, please.
I'll go. I'll go answer. I'll check to see if I can see if there's a peephole in the door first.
There's probably not a peephole, but there's probably like a bay window that you can kind of like move the curtains out and take a look.
I will try to do that stealthily.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll, largely just because that's how things advance in the game.
Is there a roll for me to notice?
No, because it's not opposed rolls. It's just his stealth roll would be based off of your spot hidden. But yeah,
I'm not spending luck on this.
so yeah, you go up, you take a look. You can see it's Dr. Carter.
All right. It's the doctor.
Oh,
And I
thank
let
God.
Man, I missed the opportunity to say like it seems to be Dr. Carter.
I open the door. Doctor, it's good to see you again, and I hurry him inside.
Oh, Salvador. Hey, okay, now. Okay. We're in a hurry.
We've had a very
Doctor.
bad evening, Doctor.
Oh, sorry to hear that. I finally got through the translation of the scrolls, but I think that we'll have to wait. Anything I can do to help?
Are you able to repair a mangled limb?
I'm not that kind of doctor, but we might need one. There's a mangled limb.
Yes, we took care of the Gavigan problem. Unfortunately, it had a very explosive end, and as a result, Luther is badly injured. He should actually, I say this in lower tones, he should actually not be alive. I'm not sure how he could have survived.
Do you know how much explosive and what kind he used?
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Bill, how much did he take? A case? A stick?
I think he
And
took
how
2
far
sticks
was
with
it?
him.
How far was he from the explosion?
I think he was the explosion.
Oh. But he just got a mangled arm. Chris?
So, outside of whatever psychological damage he might have incurred, from being an explosion.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Um, from everything I know about explosive, is there anything that could explain that, like wet dynamite or something like that?
No, that is not a dynamite wound. That is clearly not a dynamite wound. And as you kind of examine him, kind of like, pull back his jacket, take a look. His right arm looks like the arm of like a 200-year-old man.
Is there anything modern medicine could do for him right now?
Amputation.
Oh. Fair.
As a matter of fact, Dr. Carter can give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
The Cthulhu Mythos rolls are going fast and furious tonight.
You
Do a
go
roll
crazy.
just for saying that, Evelyn.
You go crazy. You go crazy. You go. Everybody goes crazy.
You get a new character, and you get a new character.
Oprah's in my characters.
Everyone look under your chair for your new character.
Yeah, it's definitely not natural, and the best modern medicine can do would be to amputate it so he doesn't have to carry it around.
What is it?
Does it look infected?
It doesn't look infected. There's no sign of damage. Just the withering.
Like a mummy's arm or something.
Yep.
How much did I get on my Cthulhu Mythos? I don't see my roll once again.
You got an 82.
Yeah, far away from doing it.
Far away from being able to be successful.
Yeah.
I know it's magic and all, but does it still bleed? Like, is there still blood circulating in that arm?
Doesn't appear to be.
Is it strange enough for me to try to consult a book to try to find answer?
You certainly can.
I close the book. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, this is something happened over there. Okay, let me go back like a few sentences ago. What was he trying to make explode?
Gavigan.
Yes, he went in to basically eliminate Gavigan, and he brought explosives with him as part of his weapon.
Okay, Gavigan, the guy from the Penny Foundation, who sent the thing to try to kill you. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. I've lost lots of events, I think.
While this is happening, Evelyn's going to try to get Luther comfortable on the sofa and try to get him to take his jacket off.
Yep, no problem.
I
That's
don't
how
think
know
he needs a
something is
doctor,
wrong
right?
with Luther. He voluntarily took his jacket off. Lie back.
You've gone back very low volume, Anita.
Oh,
I'm trying to be careful not to speak on top of you, but you're very low.
is it still? I'm just going to get you comfortable, Luther. Just lie back. We're all right here.
Yeah, he doesn't resist you putting him to bed, and he doesn't resist, notably, you taking off his jacket.
That's how you know something's wrong. It's because
sure.
Luther is letting someone voluntarily take that jacket off of him. She is, however, going to drape it over his torso because he is unreasonably attached to the lucky jacket, and it seems to have kept him alive, so more power to it.
How's the jacket holding up to the explosion?
It looks fine.
Better than his arm did.
Okay. There was something Peru at work to protect him. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna need to double check that, see if it's gonna have consequences on him.
Chris,
Yep.
does he look at all like he's been in an explosion?
Like his hair is messed up. I mean, there's like, soot marks and stuff like that. Like, it looks like he's been near an explosion, but not necessarily in an explosion.
Okay.
How many dynamite did you say he had with him? Like a crate?
He's not bloody or anything.
No, I think all the damage he took was from the wither attack.
I believe so, yep.
Lucky jacket indeed. So yes, Evelyn will continue fussing over him and getting him on the sofa.
I'm going to wave over the doctor while Evelyn's tending to him, and I'm going to tell the doctor, I'm pretty sure I saw pieces of him in the house that exploded.
In what state is the house right now?
It's on fire and blown up.
Do you know how much dynamite there were?
I didn't count.
Oh, God.
But Bill got him a crate. I don't know how much normally comes in a crate, but whatever's not in the crate, he used.
Okay. Could I try to
How-
do an estimation on that, Chris?
Yeah, he had 2 sticks. There's 2 sticks missing out of the crate.
Okay.
How's
that should
Bill?
have killed him. That should have blown him to pieces.
Bill's not hot wiring a car for that much anyway.
Yet. Bill's
Okay.
not wiring a car yet.
But yes, as Dr. Carter starts to realize that he may need to consult the books to see what happened, everybody realizes, as the adrenaline leaves your body, you guys are super tired. Even Bill's flight instinct that is kicked in is no longer kind of pushing him forward, and it is bedtime. With visions of horrified mummified limbs and evil creatures threatening to kill you all and all that, everybody have a good night's rest.
Sleep o'clock.
I'll stay up.
Okay.
I just woke up.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of montage through things unless there's something that somebody really, really wants to do. Because my understanding is you guys want to kind of wait, get some eyes on Miser House and Henson Manufacturing. Maybe find out what might be happening at those locations. Give Luther a chance to recover. At this point, probably give Bill a little bit of a chance to recover. I sent Yorick earlier. I'll dig it up in the Discord. The information that your people would have been able to translate for you.
Yes.
And the big question really at this point is, are you guys taking Luther to a hospital, or is somebody with the medicine skill tending to him here at home? Or, alternately, hiring a private doctor or nurse?
That's
I
what
think
I was
hiring a
asking.
private doctor would make the most sense for discretion.
I think so.
Do I have contacts that I could use and the money to spend them?
You undoubtedly have the money. That's not a problem. Aside from your own personal credit ratings, remember you guys do have $50,000 from Elias.
Right.
Money is not really an object for most things. And Bill, you do, people that'll pay them enough, they'll keep their mouths quiet, look the other way, whatever it is you need. So between Bill's smuggling contacts and Salvatore's secret society contacts, you guys can easily get a doctor on the down low to watch over Luther.
That's what I figured. I'd go to my secret society people in the morning or at lunchtime and put out inquiry.
Perfect. Yeah, they, like I said, between you and Bill, you can definitely get that done.
Could we ask for someone in the psychological way to help the people who need to cope in the same way?
That is going to take significantly longer. It's going to take at least a month for Bill to start to regain a grasp on sanity.
Okay.
But does he look better than he did the other night?
He still looks a little bit skittish, but for now, keeping it together.
Evelyn's
So if
going
he's
to have.
keeping it, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say Evelyn's going to have one of these big, strong men to help her push a chair over toward the couch, and that's what she'll sleep in.
For the duration while we're waiting for people to mend, Alvin is going to keep more of an eye on Luther than he will on Bill, because Bill seems to be holding it together. But Alvin's still convinced that he should not have survived that explosion. So he has lots of questions for when he feels better.
Okay.
And I'm gonna check in the book if I find something about this withering.
You can give me just roll percentile dice.
Please cooperate.
You got a 70, so unless it's in one of the books in like in Latin and Libro Sivano. Which book is that?
I'll
Yeah,
probably.
it's not in
Sorry.
any of the English books, and it's not in
Okay.
any of the French books.
I'll probably take a dictionary for the Latin one, because the Latin one, the Libro, seems to be the most interesting to me right now. So I'll probably carry that and like a dictionary and a translation book with me.
Okay.
I do not speak the language, but I'll need to learn.
All right. Perfect. So, over the course of a week, ignore where it said Bill. I had Bill still constructed because I was looking at something. So over the course of a week, the nurse doctor tends to Luther as best she can. He can. Never seen any sort of wound like this, but kind of follows. Make sure that he's hydrated, so on and so forth. Make sure that nothing is infected, so on and so forth. At the end of the week, Luther can roll a Constitution roll with a bonus die because you have medical attention.
Alrighty.
While he's making that roll, his arm never gets better doing this, right?
It does not. Doesn't get any worse, but also doesn't get any better.
Wow.
Oof. And actually, after a week of treatment, Luther doesn't get any better. Dr. Carter, you've done enough research. Yes, in the Liber Ivanus, and you remember this now. You remember that there were a bunch of like different prayers and stuff in that book that your colleagues told you about. And one of them is an incantation specifically that ages a limb, withers a limb.
Okay.
No knowledge at all how to reverse it, if it's even possible to reverse it. But there's no doubt in your mind that that apparently Gavigan called upon his dark god and essentially cursed Luther.
At least I have a name on it, so I can try to research something.
Bill, you still really want to go, but you're aware of the fact that you won't survive on your own. So you're kind of torn between like GTFO, but if you GTFO, you will be by yourself, and if you're by yourself, then that's maybe worse than being here with a bunch of people who will get eaten before you.
Okay.
So yeah, so that fear and that desire to flee is ever present in your mind, but you're still aware of the fact that there's things that need to be done, and sometimes you just need to like clamp down and do it. Also, over the course of the week, your surveillance on Miser House shows nothing of interest happening yet. And I'm assuming that Salvatore, you've probably got some of your probably the same guys who like followed Gavigan for you. So nothing seems to be happening at the house, although towards the end of the week, they will report back that the staff and the servants, of which there seems to be about 10, are basically going about like cleaning up the lands and you know, trimming the hedges, and it looks like they're making it presentable.
So business as usual or party time?
It looks like they're getting ready for something. You know, maybe they're expecting Gavigan to be coming by or something. They want to make sure that the place is all spruced up. But they're definitely starting to do the yard work to get things ready for visitors, it looks like.
Okay, well, looks like his looks like his Gavigan's house is either prepping for him or guests.
And your surveillance on Henson Manufacturing seems to be business as usual, although for a manufacturing plant, there is a surprisingly little number of actual employees. It looks like there are more guards and watchmen than there are employees. They haven't been able to find out what exactly is happening on. Like, they're not hiring on people, so they can't really get inside, so they're just kind of keeping eyes on it.
I know that something was supposed to happen at the new moon, but the other thing that was time sensitive was about the boat. Did we do anything about that?
You did not. And Bill's people can tell you that the boat has sailed.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll have to deal
yeah.
with that at some time.
Yeah, the boat set sail probably the same night that all the shit happened with you guys. Like, it was really, really tight. So it's not like the boat sailed during this week that we're montaging through.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew it was sailing soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's just Dr. Carter is out of the loop and he's asking questions that might be dumb.
But yes, after a week or so, putting you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days from the new moon. No sign of Luther getting better.
I imagine he'll wake up at some point.
I imagine he'll wake up at some point, and so yeah, towards the end of the week, he's probably like, you know, starting, not necessarily be his old self, but is starting to be responsive.
Um, the book I've been investigating were taken by Luther and Bill from the Penny Foundation. I think I understand what happened to Luther's arm from those books. I think Gavigan learned a spell from his dark god from that book, and that's what was done to Luther's arm. Don't know how Luther was unscathed yet, but I at least understand what happened to his arm. I didn't find a way to reverse it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I wouldn't exactly call this unscathed.
Well, considering the kind of explosion you describe, he should be very tiny and spread around and a big range. So I consider this like better. Unscathed from the explosion, not from Gavigan. Let's say.
Are we gonna wait for him to get better?
Right now
What are
we
you
have two
suggesting
leads,
that we
which
do?
is the Ritual of the New Moon and that uh, warehouse, I think.
The manufacturing plant.
Manufacture plant. Like we expect something to happen in 5 days at the manor. But do we expect anything from this manufacture plant, or should we find another way to get information on what's happening over there?
All of those items in the basement had to come from somewhere. We need to know if they're manufacturing them or if they're shipping them into England and then out again. If they're manufacturing them here, we need to stop them.
So it's an ongoing process if it's made here.
Oh, hey, Mr. Collins. I got a bad idea. I don't think
Luther
you
Zoe.
like it.
Looks very relieved. Captain Pratt.
I think um, we should go blow up the manufacturing place.
I think
I
perhaps you should
told you
have.
you weren't gonna like it.
I think you should have some tea and toast before we make any kind of decisions.
Alvin laughed.
Hey Chris, I'd like to do something minor in like the past, like however many days it's been since the explosion.
Sure.
Every single day, I want to go and pick up a newspaper. If not, I don't know how many newspapers London has at this time, but even multiple ones, because I want to keep track on how the explosion was reported and any like updates on it and such.
Gotcha. Yeah, it does get reported, and it gets reported as like Penhue Foundation director, philanthropist Sir Edward Gavigan, you know, perished in an explosion at his home. They're blaming it on like newfound newfangled heating techniques. Basically, kind of the equivalent of like a gas leak,
Gas leak, yeah.
even though that is super not common. But that's what they're kind of blaming it on. There's no
Coal dust flare or something.
yeah. There's no indications in the paper or in the press that it was anything other than an unfortunate accident.
That's good to know, though.
But it is very much the talk of the newspapers. like the Gavigan was well known. I mean, he was, you know, he was a noble, so it is, you know, the talk of the papers, but none of them are attributing it to anything other than an accident.
Well, there's a little bit of good news, everybody. This the whole unfortunate accident at the house apparently is being accurately reported as an accident.
Works every time.
Did anyone
It does.
ever contact the policeman contact we had in London?
No.
No, we're too wanted for that.
Fair.
Luther, what do you remember?
Not much. I think I got him.
Yes. Yes, I would say so.
Did something, put the devil in me. Arm shriveled up. And there's dynamite. Couldn't see him.
I have a question about dynamite. When it's done exploding, does it usually leave any remnants behind that should be spotted or found with any kind of an investigation?
$1920s investigation? I don't know. Maybe.
1920s, I mean, that was around the Sherlock era, and the author was a pioneer in that particular field. Folks are still just gathering up, I mean, whichever troublemakers they thought might be involved and calling it a day.
Could I answer that with demolition?
Yeah, with demolitions, you would know that it's not likely. You know, something like Scotland Yard might have the capacity to determine that sort of thing, but your run-of-the-mill police, they're not even going to bother. They're going to be like, oh, another unfortunate accident.
Yeah, short of Scotland Yard, they would not find any traces.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Oh, from what I know, but take that for what it is. I've been taking a few side class in demolition, following our adventure in Peru, just in case. Just in case.
Other than that, Alvin, I don't know. I'm not even sure how I got here.
What do you remember going?
Yeah, we were in the car. You picked the lock.
Then what happened?
House was empty. Didn't see anything. Something happened to my arm. He put the devil in, and then all I could do was use the dynamite.
So you remember lighting the dynamite?
About the last thing I do remember.
He put the devil in?
Yeah, he put the devil in me.
I'm assuming he means his arm.
Luther kind of gives you a look that he's not talking about the arm. And he looks scared, right? Like he's not being macho. He's just straight out saying that he put the devil in him.
What do you mean he put the devil in you?
I don't know how any of this works. and put the devil in me. And the devil's inside me now.
Does what Luther say ring any bell for me?
No.
No spell that I know of does something like that.
No spell that you know of. Although people can give me a psychology roll.
We were rolling so good, guys.
We're
I
experts.
can say if I made another psychology roll, that would have been hilarious.
I will spend the one luck that I need to make that roll.
Jesus, you have 78 psychology?
Yes.
Evelyn, yeah, Luther, as fanciful as it sounds, Luther absolutely believes that.
All right. I'm sure we can get it out again.
Guess.
This is my realm, so to speak.
Sorry to talk over you, Anita. I can't hear you at all.
Sorry,
There you
I
go.
don't know why. This is my area of expertise. I think we can get the devil out of you again.
Not sure how that works, but it's probably safer in me than anyone else. So
Yeah, I think you would be safer if it was back in hell where it belongs. Right?
I can't hurt anyone else this way. So it's fine. And I can shoot left-handed, and it takes some practice. I'm glad you're all right. Everyone's fine, right? Everyone's fine. God, what day is it?
We're fine, Luther.
What day is it, Chris?
It is the 18th of February.
I've lost track of time.
That was a very brave thing you did for us, and I thank you for it.
We got him, right?
Yes,
Certainly
we got him.
I believe we got him.
All right, well, cross an arm, but I mean, seen worse in the war. What's the next plan?
I was
Well,
thinking
in 5 days, there's the thing happening at the manor. And we still have the manufacturer to find a way to deal with.
well, we need to get a look at it. We don't necessarily need to do anything until we know that they're up to something.
You're right.
I was going to say, we don't have anything conclusive saying that the manufacturing place is up to anything nefarious.
Right.
Yeah, but we need to find a way to confirm it or infirm it.
So, Alvin and Salvatore, why don't you try Captain Pratt's technique of trying to get a job? Granted, you don't have his particular credentials, but you might be able to get close enough to get a look to see what they're doing.
To the boat?
No, to the manufacturing company, Henson's Manufacturing.
Didn't we hear that they weren't hiring anyone?
Yeah, the Salvatore's people that are watching it, they're not hiring.
Okay.
They can let you know that the routine, the Monday to Friday routine, is that the watchman basically opens it up at 7 a.m. The workers go in. There's 7 workers. A couple of guards go in with them to patrol the grounds while they're working. 5 o'clock, they leave. It gets locked up, and then during the evening, 2 watchmen patrol the grounds. So they actually have people like guards. They have more guards there during the day while the workers are working than they do at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that sound normal, Dr.
No,
Carter? Is that something that companies do in England? Because it doesn't sound normal to me either.
The only kind of company who would do that is company that need to watch their employee. Like they're not watching for other people, but they fear the employee might steal whatever they're working on. Like I've seen that in mining industry where they fear that the people would steal like whatever they're mining.
Precious metals,
Yeah, but
things of great worth.
yes, like if you
less
have that
precious.
much guards, you either fear for the security of your employee because they're really expert in their domain, and if something would happen to them while they're working, it would cost you a lot, or you fear them stealing from you.
Would you or Salvatore's people be able to find anything about the employees?
Like if they're
Are
expert in
they
their domain or
are they
something like
some kind of exactly? Are they some kind of expert, or are they just machine workers of some kind?
that. Yeah, that would be something interesting to know, and maybe we could interrogate one of them.
You'd have to get access to them first.
Yeah, but the
I
guard
suppose though we
watch
could
for them.
once they've left the building, it's fine.
Yeah, but we could try to spy on them, try to know who they are, if they're specialized, if they're scientists, if they're engineer or something like that, or if they're just run of the mill people of the places that got a job. But trying to speak with them would probably be interesting.
Probably something best done after hours at a pub.
Oh yeah, maybe we could check if they'll go for a pin somewhere.
So that would be more of a you and Bill, Alvin, and Salvatore.
Well, some people are better at socializing with stranger.
Well, if one of them goes to a pub after work, they can always go there, try to buy them a beer or three, and see if that loosens their lips.
Or just sit nearby and listen in. I'm sure Alvin has some kind of techniques that he uses.
Normally, I buy him a beer. People like to talk about themselves.
The people checking on the manufacturer, do you think we could ask them to try to tail some of those people when they leave the building? So we know where they pick up a drink, or if they're followed, or if they're guarded.
Salvatore's people, you mean? Ask them to find that out.
Oh, I thought they were Bill's people.
No, Bill's orphans were watching the ship.
The ship.
Oh, okay. But that was a legitimate thing that Dr. Carter didn't know.
No, he wouldn't have, because he was gone when all those plans were made.
He's just like assumed that Bill had people. Didn't assume that Salvador had people.
Somebody's got people. Dr. Carter has people. They're just all crazy now.
Sorry?
I said Dr. Carter has people. They're just all crazy now.
Well, I had to give them a little break.
Had people.
They're gonna be fine. They just need like the summer vacation to get back on track. Maybe I'll send them like to get some vacation in a better climate, like in the south.
Oh yeah, on an ocean beach. I'm sure they'll feel really comfortable right against the ocean.
I hear Peru's great this time of year.
Yeah, so I decided to pick up learning Latin.
Tahiti is a magical place.
Dr. Carter, what did you learn while you were doing all that stuff?
I picked apart most of the books that were written in ancient language. Probably if I could have come back a day ago, that would have been helpful, because from what I can see from Luther, that's the Peru-like ability that Gavigan learned. He learned from those books, so I could have predicted what kind of shit he was about.
I mean, it makes sense that he learned it from those books because, I mean, those are the books we stole from him, right?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
true. Yes, they are.
Did you notice him having a knife on his person?
Luther, that's a question for you.
What? I didn't even see him.
Oh. Okay.
Said he put the devil in you.
Yeah, I heard that, but from everything I read that he owned before we took from him, there's nothing in there that would do something like that. But I found what he did to Luther's arm. But I don't know what he did for that devil. Like, I understand better what kind of things he can do or could do.
Doesn't matter. It's already done. We have bigger things to worry about.
Right now, the three things I worry about is whatever's going to happen in 5 days, that manufacturer, and that lady at Indian Spice.
Yeah, well, she's a problem. And
Did
that
she
manufacturing place, if they only have 2 people at night, I mean, Alvin Sal could get in there.
We might be wanting to ask the worker first. But it could be done in the same night.
We have intel. There's a fancy safe or something in there, right?
There is. It's
Yes. A receipt from the installation.
Yeah. And just for reference, because I don't know if I told you exactly how big the safe is, but it is a cast iron walk-in safe.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a bank vault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have some more dynamite.
No.
If we have the model number, could we know what kind of tool would be necessary to break in?
Not in this day and age.
Okay.
A lockpick.
You know way more about me than about lockpicking.
Chris, I'm assuming that it's not actually a bank vault and it is lock pickable, probably.
It is. It's a safe. It's still lock pickable, but it's not lock picks. It's more tumblers and that sort of thing.
Sure.
It still falls under the locksmithing skill for opening.
Like right now, I see three things. Well, maybe four, but it splits the manufacturer in two. We could try to get intel on the worker, either by spying on them or by trying to buy them a pint and interrogate them. We could try to infiltrate the place at night or on the weekend. I suggest that if we interrogate the worker, we do that on a Friday night so that they don't come back to that place to report information about people asking questions before a time, and that give us some time to enter by a fraction at night to know what's going on if questioning them is not sufficient. I want to know what's happening at the manor in 5 days, but I don't know how to go about spying on that event. And I don't know if the lady at the Empire Spice promised you anything in exchange for dealing with Gavigan, but we need to know where we stand with her and if there's anything we can get from her.
Don't disagree with anything that you said there. I'm stuck here for Jesus, probably another 5-7 days.
Well, we might need to go abroad to follow that trail. Maybe we can make sure we have a doctor for you on that travel. But I would try to deal with those things before.
I agree. Best I could do is right now is maybe watch over these books when you guys are getting into the trouble. But I'm in no shape to be out there.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't want to leave you alone either.
You won't be.
Sal can get one of his guys to make sure I get lunch.
Where do
Just
you
call
think
him.
I'm going?
They're gonna need your expertise.
To do what? I'm not breaking into a manufacturing plant.
No, but if they open up the vault, someone needs to figure out what the fuck's in it.
I'm pretty sure everyone at this point can identify Peru shit.
Miss Collins, I don't need a babysitter. I just need time to heal.
And yet you think that one of Salvatore's men should do it instead.
Thought it'd make you feel better.
You just suggested it.
To make you feel better.
I'll be fine staying here. I have some research of my own to do.
Well, if I gotta chain you to a chair, I can't.
You're not chaining me to anything.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I think the first step would be the beer interrogation.
I can do that.
I trust you to do that interrogation. I just don't want you to be alone. Like anyone in this group, I don't want to end up.
Sure, but who's gonna drink a beer with me and this dude? This
like
guy.
You've got your choice. There's like 3 that you could take with you.
I'm definitely gonna look at a place in a pub, but I can be nearby.
Why? You've at least got the accent.
Oh yeah,
Sort of.
but
It's closer than ours.
I'll have to manage my clothing if I want to fit in.
Bill's Canadian. He likes drinking beer. Maple syrup.
If our
Sounds
fellow
like a
was the
terrible
kind to drink
combination.
tea, I would probably fit more. But tea does not tend to loosen the lip as much.
It depends on how long you've been awake before you have it.
Oh, I seen plenty of gossip around here. Oh, what do you say that we ask the people watching the factory to keep an eye on the worker where they leave when they leave, so we know if some of them have a usual drinking spot, or if they're guarded when they leave or stuff like that. And tomorrow night we try to plan this beer interrogation. Unless we're currently in the weekend.
It's currently
It's a Wednesday.
it's Wednesday.
Okay, so that sounds like a plan.
Right. I'm gonna get Salvatore. Give me a luck roll. We'll just kind of adjudicate the depth of the intelligence the society members have been able to give you. So the information that you have from the week of surveillance that you do have on the place is that the workers all they're from Derby. They all live in the little town that the factory's in. They basically, when they finish work, they go home. They don't really stop off at any taverns or pubs or anything. Not that they've been witness to over the week anyway. They seem to take their job very seriously. That's about it. Like, they don't. It's not like, oh, stop off the tavern after work for a pint or two. Like, they're more of the, like, go home to their wife and kids and have dinner and get up in the morning and do the same thing again.
Sounds exhausting.
Sounds terribly ordinary.
And do we have an idea of their living standard? Like, are they? What kind of zone are they living in? Are they well to do or just very poor? Might
Uh,
give an idea on their from like if they're engineer or if they're unqualified worker.
No, they're definitely not unqualified workers. Derby is the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution in England. It is a hub for industry and manufacturing. So there are a bunch of skilled workers.
Okay. So they're not paying them like 6 pence an hour.
No, no. It's the sort of thing like even modern day, you might look at somebody and go like, oh, they're a blue collar worker, but they're like, a seasoned welder working in a, factory making, $75, $80 an hour.
So they don't go out and drink.
No, they go to work, they do their job. I mean, the surveillance doesn't say they don't go to drink, but they definitely don't like go to drink at the tavern every night or every weekend or whatever. It's not part of their routine.
So we're back to sneaking in.
Sneaking in at night.
I mean, that's what
Are
I
we,
did.
are we now taking it upon ourselves to try to dismantle Gavigan's entire financial empire, no matter how small or vast?
No. The thing is, right now we want to know what they produce in that factory. That's all there is. Because if they're making Peru kind of things that they're exporting to other places to the cult, maybe we need to do something. But right now, all we want is information. Because there was something in London, and we're still missing a big piece of what Elias found in London. I'm trying to put my finger on it, and it might be that uh, manufacture what they're making. Like, I just want to know what they're making in there.
So do I if they have that many guards.
I didn't get that.
If they have that many guards, then
Oh yeah.
obviously it's something. Whether it's something that's up our alley or not is entirely different, but
I mean, it might be immoral, but if it's not Peru shit, well, let them be. But I need to know what's if it's because if they're making all the other cult work by sending them stuff,
then we need
that
to
could be a
disrupt
big
that.
blow.
But if they're just importing things from Egypt and then stripping the gold out of it, then there's nothing particularly Peru about that.
Yeah.
So it's just odd that they have guards during the day.
Because I don't want to go scorch earth and destroy everything Gavigan ever loved. I just want to try to find what Elias found in London. Because we can walk at the bush, but if we don't understand what we're doing, we will never get result.
My point is, suppose we find out Gavigan has, oh, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, a dozen other businesses in other parts of England, other parts of the world. We're going to go and chase down every single thing involving this man?
Don't think anyone suggested that, did they?
I get what you mean, Salvador.
It starts with one break and enter in one place, and now we're talking about doing it again and possibly infiltrating his manor. We're up to 3 potential things with this individual.
Yes, but one of them involves human sacrifice, so I think we can let that one go.
Fair. All I know is he's got a giant vault, and stuff coming out of that seems to be bad. And I kind of like to know what's in that vault. But if you
I'm
guys
willing
don't
to
iron up
find
for it,
another
I
way than
suppose I
breaking
could
and
get it
entering.
myself.
That's it.
Oh, well, no, I think I'm staying right here.
I mean, if we find another way than breaking and entering, I'm all for it. But I'm struggling. Like, I'm not a people person. I usually
Because I'm
deal
not a
with
burglar by trade.
like ruins of people dead 10,000 years ago. Living people are cumbersome.
If it's any consolation, you're doing fine with this group of living people.
Fine.
Granted, we tend to talk a lot about people who aren't, so maybe that's
Usually
not a
I can try
consolation.
to understand what happened with the remains after the fact. Trying to deal with stuff still happening is confusing. But we can't let human sacrifice go on.
No.
And if they're fueling other cults, even if we don't stop it ourselves, knowing that what it is, maybe we can do something either with the police or with something else to stop that operation.
I wonder if. I have an idea. It does not involve dynamite.
Disappointed.
Well, sorry. Maybe at some point, but I doubt
Don't
it.
worry, there's plenty of other sorts of explosives beside dynamite.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't use explosives. I can't run as fast as others can away from it.
I think what the doctor's trying to say is we don't
Why?
know why Elias was here or what he was researching, what it led to. And that's what he asked us to do.
Well, why don't you take me to Empire Spice and then make yourself scarce? And I'll try to find out.
You'll try to have a heart to heart with her. Okay.
I think she's more likely to speak to me with candor than to any of you.
Well, that's one of the three things I want to get over with before we leave, so I'm not against it all. But I think somebody staying in shouting distance if you need help should definitely be a thing.
Um, oh, around the corner in the car
Oh yeah,
sounds
definitely
fine.
outside.
Or around the corner, and whoever has the car can bring it back here in case a lot of you need it before I'm done. But I was thinking we only have one vehicle.
I'll drive you there.
I mean, I can drive me there. It's more a matter of bringing the car back so that it's available to everyone else while I'm chatting with the
I think we
person
should
whose name
focus
I'm
on
still
one
trying to find in
operation
my
at a time.
notes. We could do that, yes. Um,
Like let's take a first step and speak with her. Maybe we can learn more things that will inform what we do about that manufacturing place and that ritual coming in.
she was fairly upfront with us before, but before she wanted us to do something, and now that it's done, she might be a bit different.
Possible.
If you want to, I'll stay with Luther. The two of you, actually the three of you, Salvatore included, know more about those books than I could start to figure out. Sal, are you willing to go talk to her too?
Sure.
Well, I'll give Evelyn a chance to have a heart to heart. Give her some space to talk. But should you need to scream, I want to be able to hear it and come in.
Close enough to hear me.
Yeah.
If something goes poorly, I don't think that'll be a problem.
I mean, we know she can be dangerous. She's probably in a rival cult or something. And she's spying on us, like, aggressively. She knows way too much about all of us.
I think she was involved before Gavigan,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Hopefully it's a rival god, so...
She made it sound that with Gavigan gone, she thinks she could take over.
Well, that confirmed the rival cult slash other part of the cult theory.
I mean, it's a good idea. Find out where she stands at the very least.
Should see us in a good light.
We got to do
You
something.
know what?
Sitting around here talking about things isn't going to do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because right now I don't have a great plan for the other two things that we need to deal with. So maybe if we can open that can of worm, we can have better idea of how to handle the rest.
Or the shot.
Yep.
I have apparently never written her name down.
Her name is Zara.
Yeah, I have it here in the Discord. I was just searching my notes and starting to get frustrated.
All right. So folks are going to go talk to Zara.
Well, Evelyn is.
Okay.
She's going to have company to rescue her if she suddenly turns into a damsel in distress.
Or if the lady you speak with turns into a monster.
That too. Yeah. If
You don't have to
suddenly
go
there's
down. She can go up too. Like
if there's suddenly a horrific painting in my arm's reach, that would be bad. If she suddenly grows the tail and fangs, that would be bad.
yeah, if she goes all snake.
Yeah, I want someone within screaming distance.
Or even half snake. Half snake is.
Half is just as bad, if not worse. At least an entire snake I know what to do with. I've seen entire snakes. It's when they're not entirely snake that it's a problem.
Sal says you just bounce their head off the floor a few times and they stop moving.
Oh yes, I should have absolutely no trouble doing that.
It worked the
I'll
last
just,
time I
I'll
had to
just
fight.
ask them kindly to lie down on the floor for me.
You got 2 arms. You're doing well.
You're going to be fine. We're going to find something.
I have many doubts, but we still have to do something.
Yes, we
Not
do.
about my arm, but what's going on. So, chop, chop, Miss Call, let's get to work.
You're very demanding.
All right. So Evelyn's going to go talk to Zara. People are
Yep.
waiting nearby.
Yep.
Luther's staying here.
Okay.
I have a very, very limited hope that I could get 7 more days of rest. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to try.
All right. So who is going to be backup in case things go poorly?
I got to drive at 40. I can take the driver's seat.
Okay.
Alvin is staying with Luther.
Okay.
I was planning on being backup for Evelyn.
Okay. And Salvatore?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay. There we go.
2 witnesses in the car. I could have got away with it.
All right. So yeah.
Right. That's why we're not letting Bill have unrestricted access to the car. Now I remember.
I think we should have Evelyn do the psychology for Bill.
I don't think anyone has told her that Bill is being particularly twitchy about wanting to leave as fast as possible.
Well, when
I
he
was-
drives you to the airport or the port, you'll know.
I have been looking for
Wait
an
here.
at-home
Where are we
psychiatrist.
going? This isn't the way to Empire Spices.
Yeah. Currently, Bill is no more willing to flee than he was before. So. All right. So yeah, Empire Spices. You guys have been here before in Soho. It's not hard to find a place relatively nearby to park. There's not a lot of cars on the roads. Soho is largely foot traffic. But you guys can get to a place that you deem to be within earshot, and someplace that gives you like kind of good visibility on the front door.
Are there windows in the Empire Spice?
There are, but there's like curtains over them, and then there's a bunch of writing on it, and they're not easy to see through.
Okay.
And Evelyn, when you enter, the smell of spices hits you. Zara is there. Her, assistant Ido is sweeping the floors like he always does. Not terribly busy, early on a Wednesday morning or early afternoon. She does notice you. She's like, "Oh, Miss Collins."
Yes, Miss Shafiq. Have you heard the news?
Oh, I understand that Mr. Gavigan suffered an unfortunate accident.
Yes, it was terribly tragic.
I am all broken up about it.
Hmm. As am I. Devastated. Perhaps we could have a talk in your office.
Yes, certainly. She leads you back to the little office. Here on the map. She takes a seat behind her desk.
Is there a second chair in that room?
There is not.
Hmm. Okay.
So what can I do for you and your friends?
Well, I'm hoping that you'll be willing to share some information.
Perhaps.
You knew the not so dearly departed.
Oh, yes.
Do you know of anything you could do that would wither a limb?
Oh, certainly. Child's play, really.
Do you know how to reverse it?
Not really something that I do. But at least it was an arm and not his head.
Hmm. Yes. Or a leg.
Or a leg.
And yes, Evelyn does have her cane with her.
But the ways of magic are numerous and mysterious, but the restoration of limbs is not something that I am particularly interested in. I mean, undoubtedly somebody out there somewhere has done it or sold their soul to get the capacity to do it. People will do all kinds of things for loved ones in danger.
Or for power.
Or for power.
Can you tell me what the spell, ritual, whatever it was, that can you tell me what it's called?
I can show you how to do it.
And what would that cost me?
Oh, it would just take time. And the only surefire way to know for sure that you've done it is to practice.
Hmm. I think just the name of whatever was done will do for now.
Oh, it's known by many names. The version I'm familiar with is called Touch of Pain.
It certainly lives up to its name.
It does. It sounds much better in the Arabic.
I take it that's the original language?
I doubt that very much,
Close
but
enough.
it's the original human language, let's say.
All right. Can't say it's not tempting.
That's the thing.
Isn't it, though? Is someone else going to be stepping up to do the ritual that he was planning to do?
Oh, perhaps. Nature abhors a vacuum.
But there's no definite plans that you know of yet.
Oh, well, I will be taking his place. But I don't know if I'm going to carry through with what he was planning. I am undecided on that front.
I take it he was intending to sacrifice someone.
Well, no more than usual.
He doesn't strike me as the type that would use an animal.
Animals are an unworthy sacrifice at best.
Hmm. The other thing I was curious about, do you know what it is that's being made or worked on at Hanson Manufacturing?
No, I have no idea. Gavin kept that very close to his chest.
Hmm.
It was his own project.
Oh. Well, that can't possibly be good.
Oh, he's dead now, so not really any of my concern.
No, but whatever was happening there is still happening there.
Well, I suppose. Once people, get their teeth into a project that they enjoy.
I'm not sure how many of them are enjoying it.
It's inconsequential. So now that you have dealt with Mr. Gavigan, I assume you'll be leaving.
Well, that depends entirely on what was being manufactured and whether or not there's going to be a human sacrifice in a few days.
You know as well as I do that the Black Pharaoh does not accept lesser sacrifices.
Yes.
So, since you've done me this favor of eliminating Gavigan for me, I will give you to the end of the month to leave English soil. You and your friends.
When is the full, or when's the new moon, Chris?
The new moon is on the 23rd.
Okay. I think we would be more than happy to be on our way. I would strongly recommend not giving us a reason to stay.
Oh, I have no intention to. You've been most useful.
As of you. It's not often I get to meet another woman in this field.
Mm-hmm. Well, times are changing.
About time, too. Such a pain. You wouldn't happen to have that written in English somewhere, would you?
No. My apologies. English is not my first language.
Arabic isn't mine.
Unfortunate. But let your friends know that I will not pursue any endeavors against them unless you give me reason until the 1st of March.
As I said, don't give us a reason to stay. We're trying to find reasons to leave.
Well, excellent.
Once we know what was being manufactured and that there isn't going to be a sacrifice this month, I imagine we'll be.
Oh, well, good luck with the first, but do not interfere with the second.
If you intend to do something. Because you said that you weren't decided.
Oh, I have no idea what Gavigan was working on. But the high rites will happen, and I will take his place as high priest.
Be more discreet than he was.
Oh, of course.
If we don't know it's happened, then we have no reason to be here.
I'm glad we understand each other.
Could you write down the original name of it in Arabic?
Certainly. And she'll take out a piece of paper and she'll write it down. Well, good luck with your future endeavors.
I would say good luck with yours, but I suppose it really depends on who it is you're sacrificing. Make sure he deserves it.
Of course. And you can give me a psychology roll if you like.
Yeah.
I was going to say, good try there. That was a leading question. Your leading statement. I like that.
Oh, a hard success. Yeah, she doesn't care.
Damn.
But that could have been, she like corrected the gender. Or, there could have been a lot of that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was a good statement. I liked it.
That was very deliberate. There's a reason Evelyn's like, no, maybe the men should sit this one out.
Yeah. No, she does not care who the sacrifice is.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, well, hopefully she takes the rest of it to heart. Yeah, once Evelyn has the name of that spell written in Arabic, then she will as they're walking toward the office door. Do you know what it means if someone says that someone has put the devil in them?
Oh, there's many ways to do such a thing, both psychological and magical.
I mean, I'm not far from Salem originally, so that is familiar.
Oh, that's quaint.
I know, right? It's ludicrous. But
the easiest way to deal with it is to find a very sharp knife and just cut it out of the person.
cut it out of them?
I mean, if it's something that is actually inside of them.
I don't think it is.
Oh, then that is not my
Yeah.
area of expertise.
I'm sure I can make something convincing up.
Okay.
Unless you happen to know someone who does have that as their area of expertise.
No. I do not generally surround myself with charlatans.
Exactly our area.
But if you can convince them that you have successfully exorcised them, then who am I to judge? Unless it is real and it breaks free and destroys them in the process and consumes their soul.
That's a bit more of a problem, yes.
Oh.
But your idea that if it is actual, that it would be physical.
Well, yes. I mean, there's various spells where you can entreat an entity to enter into a body, and it forms like a larva, and then it gestates until it is fully grown, and then it is born.
Sounds uncomfortable. Would the entrance leave a mark?
Not necessarily. Could enter through dreams.
I don't think anyone was unconscious at the time. Not that I recall.
I mean, if you're interested in joining with us, we can show you these methodologies, but it would take some time. And your friends, of course, are not welcome.
I'll consider it.
Well, then perhaps I'll see you again.
I've heard lovely things about England when it's not drizzling rain, which I haven't seen yet. Curious.
We'll give it some consideration.
I will. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And Evelyn will make her way outside.
Okay.
Actually, she'll just is there tea for sale here?
No, it is only spices.
Ah, pity. Okay. Sorry. She'll hobble her way outside. All right. I'm ready when you are. Shall we return?
I'll start the engine.
Okay.
You got everything you wanted from here?
I have everything that I can get without complications.
That's everything I was hoping for. Let's not shop for complication.
So once is anyone stopping on the way back to the house?
I don't think so.
All right. I'll discuss it a bit more once we're inside, although maybe Dr. Carter, I'll talk to you alone here in the car once everyone else has gone inside.
Okay. Well, let's inform everyone of what can be useful for deciding what we do next. And we can see what we need to discuss that is more sensible.
Well, yes.
From the readings I've done, one of the interesting things I think I found in the various book is how to make a weapon that could hurt one of the things from Peru.
That would be handy.
I think it would be.
What kind of a weapon is it?
It has to be a blade made of a pure metal, so iron, gold, or silver,
Mm-hmm.
and it can help the with incantation, but it also has the property to be a weapon against the creature of the myth, the Peru things.
You know, if he was stripping gold out of things, or stripping precious metals out of whatever items come in from Egypt or whatever other expeditions he had going on, manufacturing plant would certainly be the place to make them.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's basing everything on the fact that there are guards there during the day. It could be something entirely different. They might just be
See,
counting money inside. Who knows?
I honestly I don't know what would surprise me finding inside. Like it could be all kinds of things, and I'll be like, okay. But I'm sure it's gonna find a way to surprise me still. But
Maybe they're
like
really accountants just pretending to be manufacturers.
possibly
All they're
they could
doing
just
is
go in
counting
and play
money.
bridge. The guy are just a decoy.
I've heard stories about card games that should have had guards, but we'll see. We'll see.
Before we poke too deep in all this, I think maybe having something that can hurt those things be interesting for us.
Mm. Well, if you know of a quality shop that sells iron's a pure metal, isn't it?
Uh, Maybe we can
Metals
find
aren't
something that
exactly
would be
my.
suitable for this ritual in
I
town.
think if iron, I can't remember if iron is an alloy or a pure metal.
Iron is a pure metal, but steel is an alloy. Lots of things are made of steel nowadays.
Mm. I thought steel was an alloy.
Steel is
Iron
an
is on the
alloy.
periodic table of elements. Steel, lead,
But if
iron, gold, silver.
Yeah,
Iron is.
iron is, steel is not.
right, I was thinking though, if you know of a good quality shop that sells iron fireplace pokers,
Well, the
I
thing is,
mean,
I want an object that is made of a pure metal, but that will also be carryable. Like if we take the boat or we go in a foreign country, they wouldn't stop me because I have a sword.
well, I think an iron cane might be a bit heavy.
I think it would be a bit
I'd,
innocuous for
I'd use it.
someone carrying around a fire poker.
Just as a note, the spell is specifically enchant knife.
Okay, but
I was
I
thinking of it's all the rage in town. The cane with a blade in them,
That would be a sword.
even if it's short enough.
It has to be a knife.
Okay.
not that short.
Call of Cthulhu spells are very specific.
But it's the 1920s. Everybody has a knife.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
hard to get a knife.
Yeah, but I need the knife to be made of some pure metal. So a gold knife or a silver knife or iron knife.
But you don't want a gold knife.
No. Iron would definitely be the most durable.
Probably. With my knowledge of London, is that something I could locate?
You'd have to get it made.
Okay. But do I know a place where I could request that?
Yeah, there's
Henson Manufacturing.
Henson Manufacturing.
Really?
Well, you don't know if they make knives, but it's
I mean, they manufacture something.
it's
Right now, it's
1925.
rumors.
It's 1925 England. Blacksmiths are still a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2023. Blacksmiths are still a thing. What are you talking about?
But I meant there's a guy there with a shop on the
Yeah.
corner who's making horseshoes for the horses.
So we might make a stop on the way for me to order a knife. If that's all right with you, Bill.
All good.
I don't know if you had shenanigans you needed to go over with Alvin
You're so quiet.
and Ether. Because I had the mic away from my mouth.
Ah.
I don't know if you had a conversation or something that you wanted to do with Luther and Alvin before Evelyn drags Dr. Carter away for a private chat.
So yes, are Alvin and Luther up to anything while everybody else is away?
Packing and running.
I mean, Luther's not up to anything. He's resting. I mean, I'll talk to Alvin if he wants to talk about something.
No, we're just waiting.
Okay. So yes, you guys get back to the safe house. Not a problem.
I assume that if I wanted the knife, I ordered a knife and I will have to go back to fetch it in a few days.
Yep.
Good. As long as I can get it before the new moon.
You know, maybe. Because it is Wednesday afternoon and they don't work on weekends.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get it on Friday. Open. I'll try to pay a bit extra for that. Try to bribe my way into efficiency.
So, yeah, we'll go inside and then we'll talk after.
Would you rather have us discuss this matter before or after we inform everyone of your result?
We'll let everyone know so that they can stop worrying if they're worried.
Fair.
And then we can talk.
Yeah.
So yes, so the away team arrives back.
Wrong game.
Everyone's all right?
Yeah, and Alvin's even let me win at cards.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm letting you in.
is this another skill you picked up in the army?
I think he feels sorry for me.
Evelyn's going to kind of lean over to look at Alvin's cards.
Alvin is for sure losing. He just threw away cards that were valuable.
She'll frown and then look at Luther, shake her head. So I spoke with Ms. Shafiq, We're both terribly torn up that Gavigan's dead. Not as torn up as he is, but
Sorry, shouldn't laugh at that, but
well, morbid humor. There's a place for it everywhere. Um, she doesn't know what's happening at the manufacturing plant. She said that Gavin kept that as his personal project very close to his chest and didn't reveal anything about it.
Okay.
She's also hoping that we'll be gone by the end of the month.
well, we'll probably be gone by the end of the month, to be fair.
I told her as long as nothing's happening on the new moon, we'd have no reason to stay.
Why would she want to get rid of us?
Well, let's see. So far, we've broken into a museum. We've blown up someone's home with them in it. Why would she want us to stay?
Is there a particular reason why we break into her home and blow her up?
Well, given what we did in New York, which she's aware of, and what we've done here, which she's aware of, if I lived in a place and we showed up, I'd want us to leave too.
If you're in the Peru shit.
She knows a lot about that sort of thing. And there's no way of knowing if we're going to decide that her spice house needs to be destroyed.
This is a lady that apparently can spy on us wherever we go, so of course we're going to leave her spice house alone. Right?
Oh, we absolutely are. We're not touching her.
Seems about right. Sal,
Hmm?
we any more salt? Didn't you do a salt thing? Somebody did something with salt.
Well, Alvin looks plenty salty right now.
It's just because these cards aren't coming out the right way. Are we sure we're playing with a full deck?
No.
Phrasing.
Walk toward the kitchen.
I thought salt would help. Somebody said something about salt.
What have you been doing with salt?
Circles around the house. Just look around. Hold on. If I throw these two out, I get 3 back, right?
It was Evelyn that wanted to do this, the salt thing.
Oh, the salt circle. Okay.
Alvin, you don't want to throw. Whatever. He's very bad at this game.
If you don't like my salt circle, Salvatore, you're welcome to do something of your own.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I simply corrected Luther when he thought I did it.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was it.
Who doesn't like having salt all over the place?
Hard to keep everything straight. I might have got concussed sometime in the last little bit.
Well, I expected you to be at least concussed, but you seem fine.
Well, more or less. Um, So yeah,
I mean, you're the luckiest man I seen in a dynamite explosion. That's what I mean.
I'm good with dynamite. I don't know. I quite remember most of that, but anyway, so we got to break into a vault now. Is that what we're doing?
Chris, if it doesn't look like Salvatare's, is huh? If it doesn't look like Salvatore is taking the hint from Evelyn that he could do his own little ritual to give us privacy, she'll be back in a minute or two. Just going to check her salt mines and refresh the one in front of the door that's undoubtedly been swept away by now.
Okay.
Yeah, Evelyn was trying to hint to Salvatore that he could give us some privacy, but okay. Yes, if we want to know what's happening in the manufacturing plant, we're going to have to find out ourselves.
I mean, Alvin,
Yeah.
you kind of want to crack at that lock, don't you?
If we're still trying to understand what Elias was doing, right? And he was trailing Gavigan as far as we know, because he was dealing with the Penhew Foundation. So whatever he had on Vault is important to find out what Elias was after. Is that right?
That's how I see it.
And Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
we're not stepping on anyone's toes if we go snooping around that manufacturing plant, right?
Correct. Correct.
She's not going to start sacrificing people because we poked around in it, right?
No. She doesn't know what's in it. She doesn't know what he was doing there. She didn't seem particularly interested.
But he obviously hired security for this place. So yeah,
He was obviously very
protective
concerned about
about it.
what was happening there because she doesn't know. And we all know how her intelligence gathering, how effective it is.
Yeah, then I agree. It should be something we look in, or at least I look in.
But now that he's dead, she doesn't seem to have any care about what he was up to. So and she didn't seem particularly curious about finding out what was happening in that manufacturing plant. So
I'm willing to go.
Do
excellent.
we have any other way of interrogating the worker?
Why bother? I mean, there's what, 2 guards in the evening? Alvin's sneaky. Salvatore's big.
And Salvatore is trying not to get into trouble.
Bill's here. He's a good talker.
Bill gets into trouble without trying.
And the things I've read in the book, I find a way how to make a knife that could maybe hurt creature from Peru. If we end that there might be some of those shit inside that place, that might be interesting to finish before we go.
Mm.
But we can go spy on it as long as we don't take action if we see something terrible.
We haven't been to the building at all yet, have we?
No, you have not.
Sal's guys have, though, right?
Yeah, Salvador's people have been. They kind of set up
Right.
in Derby, and they've been feeding him some information.
But none of us have actually laid eyes on the building.
Nope.
So, Alvin, you've mentioned before that you've done surveillance.
Yeah, I can take a look to see what's going on.
I mean, hopefully it has windows. Or deliveries. Or something other than just workers going in and out.
Nighttime is always best. I'm going to need time with that safe one way or the other, and there's going to be less people around.
Alvin, bring some dynamite. There's, I think, quite a bunch left in the crate there.
Yeah, I brought extras. I
Yeah.
brought honey.
Feels good. Oh, he's good.
Yeah, I don't think I need the extras.
Just in case.
Maybe Salvatore and Bill could cause a ruckus outside of the building, on the opposite side from where you plan to go in.
Let me take a look before we plan too far ahead here.
Just in case, though, you should probably take them with you.
I mean, I'm not going to take them
Not up
along.
to the building, but nearby.
It depends what they want. I'm not here to throw Sal under the bus, right? If he doesn't feel comfortable with this,
Right.
I'm not.
Yes. But the same way that I didn't visit a tea shop in the middle of the afternoon in public alone, you probably shouldn't visit a manufacturing plant in the middle of the night alone.
I feel fairly sure that from a distance, I'll be able to get everything I need. I'll be able to see if, like you said, if there are windows, and then we'll decide how best to go about it.
All right. So, salespeople would have been able to tell you guys that the manufacturing building is behind a brick wall. There are large wrought iron gates that give access to vehicles and horse-drawn carts, and a manned gate. So you can really only see the two buildings from the front gate. There's windows and stuff in there for sure. But there's two structures. One of them is a workshop and the other one is a shed. And the shed obviously has no windows.
Yeah, I feel comfortable going in. Just I'd like to someone stay by the car running just in case.
I can do that.
So Bill
That
watched
seems
the
like a
car,
bad
and we
idea.
have someone watching Bill.
I can watch Bill and the car.
That's what I was. It's like, don't just take Bill.
Bill is now the worst getaway driver ever.
Mainly because
Or
he'll
the
try to
best,
get
he's
away
gonna get
while
you
you're in
away
there.
from town.
Exactly.
The car's getting out of town. It's your job to stay in the car.
Yeah. I picture now every time Bill starts looking at the car, the camera kind of pans over to Salvatore, kind of giving him the side eye.
Can't stop here. It's Bat Country.
I mean, since we firmly established that Salvatore is like really good at psychology roles and reading people.
They're in the middle of the desert when the ether began to take hold.
Yeah. Alrighty. So just so you guys are aware, Derby is a little ways from London. You can certainly drive. You don't have to take a train or whatever. But it will take some time.
Yeah, I think the hope is to check out the manufacturing place and be back in time to check out the new moon thing.
Yeah, that being the case, you're definitely going to want to get a move on the manufacturing place.
Yeah, so it's kind of go time, I think.
Yep. Are you guys leaving right away at like 4 o'clock in the evening to head to Derby, or are you going to head out in the morning?
I'm ready to go now.
In the morning, yeah, exactly. We can go. You know what? Let's go. I think I'm worth better the opinion. Go in the morning and can see what we can see in the morning, and then go at night. I mean, we can drive literally by in the morning and see what we want.
One day closer to Luther feeling better.
So they're
I'm
not.
gonna try to do a delay if we eventually want to use dynamite again. I want to create something that gives us time before it blows up.
Right. That is not currently the best you can do is a longer fuse.
Okay.
Mm. So they're not going tonight?
I don't think they plan to
It's too
drive through
long.
the night.
Okay.
Can still take Evelyn on a walk if we want to talk.
Yes.
Or we
Which is
can have
odd because
something.
Evelyn never seems to want to just go for a walk for the sake of going for a walk.
We can have
But
tea in the
she
garden.
she absolutely proposes one. Yeah, she'll just sort of walk up to Dr. Carter, cane in one hand, shoes on, and sort of tap him on the elbow and gesture toward the door.
Yeah.
And then start making her way toward it. And then once we're safely at one end of the property, so
Yes.
I asked about what happened in Gaffigan's house. The spell that was done to Luther, spell, ritual, whatever it was called. Apparently, it's quite easy to learn, and she offered to teach it to me. It's called, in English, it's called Touch of Pain. I had her write it out for me in Arabic, which is apparently the human language that's used. So we might find it in one of the books that we have that are now.
I did find a similar spell, but in Latin.
Mhm.
The
So if we can
withering.
find the withering what?
I think it's called the withering. It's not friendly.
No, not at all. She didn't know how to reverse it though.
Yeah. Nothing in what I've read talks about reversing it, just how to make it. Most of the things I've read is about destroying things, not fixing them.
Yes. But I have to think that there is a way. She thinks that there's someone out there somewhere who knows how, but she doesn't know who or how.
Well,
But it's another
people,
place to start.
from what I've read so far, people make dark pact with entities to get power. I'm pretty sure some
Yeah,
of those pact asked for mending. People
probably.
always look for a way to fix loved one.
So maybe if someone did that, they wrote it down somewhere.
Yeah, just need to find the right book.
And going through the books in Arabic again, now that we have a better idea of what we're looking for, might be a place to start. It's
Yes.
just, I don't think any of us. I mean, I can go through a book slowly and try to match what she wrote down to what I'm seeing on the page, but it's all just lines and squiggles. until
Yes.
I find one that matches. The comments made about him having the devil in him,
Yeah, I'm
she
worried about it.
said that it could be something physical, some kind of an entity that was manifesting in him as some kind of larval form that would eventually grow larger than its host. Or it could be all in his head.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that Gavigan would not have had a lot of time to do things, and the fact that he managed to do this touch of pain to Luther, I greatly doubt that Luther gave him time to do much more.
But something protected Luther.
It certainly seems that way.
Because he was
Look,
close to the explosion.
we don't really know. It was a 2-story house, right, Chris? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it was 2 stories, there were no lights on. So if he found Gavigan upstairs in, I don't know, a hallway or a bedroom, then if he threw the dynamite and dove over a balcony, I mean, I greatly doubt that's the farthest he's ever fallen.
Yeah. Thing is, the only wound he has is the withered arm.
Mm-hmm.
I checked.
I know.
He was unscathed. Except for the arm. I just don't understand what happened there. And the thing is, they told me they were sure they saw him explode. And I know there are
Alvin,
certain spells that will protect you.
I don't think Alvin saw anything.
Okay.
We didn't know what was happening until after the explosion.
You were no closer to that than Alvin?
I was in the car. He ran up to the house.
Okay.
He got about 2 feet inside before he came back out again. So I don't think he saw anything of Luther.
Okay.
He might have seen bits of Gavigan. My guess at this point is that Luther tossed the dynamite at Gavigan after, or I don't know, maybe before Gavigan did whatever he did to his arm. But I think Luther actually did make it out before the fuse got to the dynamite itself.
Okay. This could make sense.
Chris, was that a wooden house or a brick house?
Yes.
Or a combination? Okay. I think there was enough brickwork that, he was not silly, but not injured, other than his arm. But that's my thought. I think if Alvin saw anything through the smoke, then he saw flames and he saw parts of the occupant.
You're saying is we should focus on finding a way to reverse that withering.
Right. And I'm going to try to make it seem as though I'm coming up with some kind of exorcism that we can perform on Luther.
So he's confident he doesn't have the devil in him.
Yes.
Okay. And is it just me, or is that lady from Imperial Spices just gonna take over whatever Gavigan was doing?
Oh, yes, absolutely, she is.
So if we try to do anything about the cult at the new moon, she's gonna be there.
I told her that if we didn't have a reason to stay in England, that we wouldn't stay in England because we have other things to do.
Fair.
So if she isn't doing whatever it is that Gavigan planned on doing, and she wasn't entirely clear on what he planned to do, then I mean, we're not going to stay here indefinitely waiting for something to happen.
Oh yeah. If ever taking out the cult in London becomes a thing we need to do, that implies going through her.
Well, if we have to come back. But if the new moon passes and nothing happens, then really what else do we have to stay for?
Will we even notice if they do the thing at the new moon?
I don't know. Without knowing what is going to happen, the only thing she confirmed to me is that she is planning to take over. So beyond that,
Evelyn, give me intelligence roll.
a what roll?
Intelligence.
Oh, I thought you were going to have me do a different kind of roll.
All right. So what she told you was that.
Oh, I know. I wrote it down.
Okay, so you wrote down about the high rights and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Okay.
a lot of information being shared, I see, that is
Yeah.
not the information that she learned, I see.
That
Yep.
is absolutely true.
Okay, perfect.
Oh yeah, I got that. It's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that. I got
Okay.
that.
Everybody's doing stuff here.
I'm
I think
asking,
everybody.
I'm asking questions to know what I know.
Yep. I think the players are well aware of how I write my notes, and that if I'm not saying it, I mean, if I need to ask something, I always ask you.
Yep.
So, yeah, chances are pretty fine that if I'm not mentioning something, it's because Evelyn is deliberately leaving it out.
Perfect.
And there's also like there's subject I'm avoiding and things I'm not saying because she knows too much about us for not to be able to supernaturally spy on us. So
I mean-
if my plan is to put a bullet in her head, I'm not gonna say that.
Right?
Lots of stuff going on, but it is 10:30.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So as the conversation between Dr. Carter and Evelyn trails off, and everybody, kind of gets some rest for the day, where they're going to go and investigate Henson Manufacturing. The night passes uneventfully, except I will get everybody to give me spot hidden rolls.
Spot hidden.
Look at you people roll. Oh.
Could you
And then
prompt
there's us in the 70s.
I don't know if you can click on the roll thing in chat or not.
I cannot.
Could you prompt the spot hidden for me?
Yeah, it did. Oh, no. All right. So Alvin and Salvatore and Bill. As you're, kind of drifting off to sleep, I mean, I assume that at least somebody is staying watch because you guys are super paranoid at this point.
That's an
You don't say.
understatement.
But just as you're drifting off to sleep in whatever order you fall asleep in, just at the very corner of your vision, like your eyes are closed, and then you kind of like look up because you think you hear a noise, and then your eyelids drift, kind of heavily, and you're not sure if you're awake or asleep, but just kind of in the corner of the room in which you are resting, you see a dark shape in the corner that I will post to the Discord.
Oh, no, that's bad.
Oh God, I am
Just
so
for the
glad
record,
everyone doesn't see that.
that is not a shape. That is an.
So Bill and Salvatore and Alvin.
I'm glad Salvatore won it.
That's what you see. And Salvatore actually, and Bill, two of you can give me Cthulhu Mythos rolls.
You should probably.
OBOY.
My Cthulhu Mythos rating is 0.
Yeah, Alvin does not get the roll.
Alvin is blissfully ignorant.
26. I will spend the 8 to get that.
Oh, Bill.
You need to spend 12 luck to pass
Yeah,
that.
it's 12 to pass.
I will do it.
Okay.
If you haven't put that in the up on your screen, Chris, then you probably should.
Oh, Chris, I had already adjusted it. That's why it was.
Okay.
So
The audience sees
I
it.
should get 4 back, I think.
No, you rolled a 26. You have a Mythos of 14, so you need to spend 12.
Yeah, I had already knocked it down though. I had already taken 6 off.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. I don't really have an easy way to share that to the chat. But,
Messages to it. Message it to me.
yeah.
I gotta go to bed anyway. So
Yeah. But just as you're falling asleep, and you guys see this shape, and you just see it at the corner of your vision, just as you're drifting off, so you can't force yourself awake. It's oddly not frightening, but in a weird way, in a very weird way, comforting.
it's our guardian demons.
And Bill, you have seen that picture at when you like kind of blacked out and fled in terror from what you were reading. You remember these creatures being in that book. It is a creature called a night gaunt. And that's where we'll leave it until next time.
And it reminds me eerily of Luther.
I told you they put the devil in me.
All right.
I'm so glad Luther isn't seeing that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to make a magic knife to kill Peru things.
Okay. Give me 1 second here, and I will throw it into. There you go. Everybody should be able to hit their recover luck points.
Woohoo! Wow.
Oh, Luther got some luck back.
Inconceivable.
Oh, I did not. Bill got a bunch though.
Recover luck. Did it work?
It did, but you did not get any back.
It worked, but it didn't.
I don't see it when it works.
Yeah. I think all of you guys, I think your luckiest person currently is Alvin with 48.
Alvin is very risk averse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He's
why he's
the-
got a Cthulhu Mythos of 0.
Oh no, so he luck of 57 now in Alvin.
Nice.
Wow.
He's also your most sane because he hasn't read any books.
Yeah.
Neither's Luther.
Yeah.
most sane, least Cthulhu lore, most luck, and worst dice luck. So
Yeah.
it's all good. I'll balance it out.
It all works out. Yep.
I always love when Salvatore makes like these like just like non-boxer related rolls.
And Salvatore's like quantum physics. This is how.
Salvatore is the whole guy. Like,
I'm gonna
feels
buy.
like a character.
Perfect.
Alvin's gonna buy Salvatore a monocle just because of that.
No, Einstein. It's E equals MC squared, not cubed.
Oh, right.
Dumbass.
What would I do without you, Salvatore?
Salvatore is starting to feel like the man of bronze.
He really
All right,
is.
guys.
Like the
I
man
have
of
to
what?
go. I'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, in old pulp books, there's Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze, who is like
Yeah.
this, genius scientist, physical specimen, inventor, philanthropist, world traveler, like just basically like the very best of humanity. He's like there's like 131 Doc Savage novels, of which I have 43 of them. But yeah, Salvatore is starting to come across that way because he's like this big bruiser of a guy who's making like the intelligence-based rolls and stuff.
He's our ace in the hole.
Perfect.